Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on something most of us have almost every day, coffee.
Yeah, it's huge. Globally, what is it, like 2.5 billion cups a day?
Staggering, right. And here in Taiwan, it's something like 2.43 million cups daily. A lot of that popularity, I think, comes from this idea that coffee might actually be, well, good for us, maybe even prevent diseases.
Absolutely. That idea is really taken hold. It's more than just a morning pick-me-up for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there's some compelling research behind some of those claims.
Okay, so to help us unpack the good and maybe the not so obvious bad, we're diving deep into what Dr. Lee Baran has to say.
Right. He's a specialist in gene nutrition and functional medicine, so he's got a really interesting perspective on how coffee interacts with our bodies.
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty simple. Figure out how you can drink coffee to get the most health benefits and, avoid the potential downsides based directly on Dr. Lee's advice.
We're working from excerpts of a YouTube transcript featuring him really digging into his recommendations.
Okay, let's jump in. What are the big health pluses Dr. Liu talks about with coffee?
Well, first off, the cancer risk thing really stands out. He points to data suggesting maybe 3 to 4 cups a day on average.
3 to 4 cups, okay.
Yeah, linked to a pretty significant drop, like 25% to 35% lower risk for both liver and colorectal cancer.
Wow, that's substantial.
It really is. He does note, though, that for breast cancer in premenopausal women, the data is a bit inconsistent. But for postmenopausal women, there might be some benefits there, too.
Interesting distinction. But still, for liver and colorectal, that's quite something from just drinking coffee.
Definitely. And beyond cancer specifically, he also mentions it seems to help reduce liver fibrosis, that's liver scarring, essentially.
Right, scarring. And something about colon polyps, too.
Yeah, less development of those polyps, which can sometimes turn cancerous down the line.
Okay, so protective effects in the liver and colon. What else? He mentioned fatty liver.
He did. He explained that coffee can actually help encourage the release of fatty acids from your fat cells.
Fatty acid release. Okay, how does that help me, practically speaking? Like, what's the benefit?
Well, the idea is if you drink it before exercise, releasing those fatty acids makes them more available for your body to burn as fuel.
Ah, so it could actually boost fat burning during a workout?
Potentially, yeah. And maybe even improve your endurance because you've got that fuel readily available.
Hmm.
He also touched on improved insulin sensitivity.
Okay, insulin sensitivity. That's about blood sugar control, right?
Exactly. Better sensitivity means your body handles sugar more effectively. So that could be beneficial for people managing type 2 diabetes or even helping to prevent it.
So it's hitting energy use, metabolism. What about the brain? Any cognitive benefits mentioned?
Yeah, this was really interesting. Dr. Lu Yu cited research suggesting that maybe 2 to 3 cups of black coffee daily could help reduce the buildup of amyloid plaques.
Amyloid plaques, those are linked to Alzheimer's disease, aren't they?
They are. They're those sticky protein bits. So the implication is regular black coffee might play a role in keeping the brain, well, a bit younger, potentially delaying cognitive decline.
2 to 3 cups of black coffee, specifically. Okay. It's amazing how many potential benefits are linked to this one bean. What's the magic ingredient here, according to Dr. Liu?
He really highlights chlorogenic acid. It's a type of antioxidant found naturally in coffee beans.
Antioxidant. So it fights off cell damage.
Basically, yes. It helps neutralize those harmful free radicals in the body that contribute to aging and disease. Chlorogenic acid is considered quite a potent one.
Okay, so we have the why, the potential benefits. But Dr. Liu also spent time on the how to drink coffee the right way. What were his key points there?
Yeah, this is crucial. First big one. Avoid those 3-in-1 instant coffee mixes.
Ah, yes, the convenient packets. Why avoid them?
Well, for starters, he points out some might barely contain any real coffee. They're often loaded with sugar, unhealthy trans fats from those non-dairy creamers and artificial flavors.
Trans fats. Yikes.
Yeah. He even mentioned a patient whose cholesterol shot up after regularly drinking that stuff. It really shows how different the ingredients can be.
Okay, that's a pretty strong warning. So ditch the instant stuff. What should we use instead?
His recommendation is whole beans, ground fresh, just before brewing. That's the best way, he says, to preserve all those beneficial compounds, like the chlorogenic acid.
Freshness.
Right.
Okay. And he talked about storage too, right? How long can we keep beans or ground coffee? Because I know I've got bags that have been sitting around for, well, a while.
Guilty as charged here, too. He didn't give an exact timeline for nutrient loss, but he raised a different concern: moisture. Old beans or grounds can get damp, which allows mycotoxins to grow.
Mycotoxins, like mold.
Exactly. Things like aflatoxin, which you sometimes hear about with peanuts. These can be harmful, especially to your kidneys. So storing coffee too long increases that risk.
Okay, so how long is too long?
His advice is pretty strict, actually. Once ground or once a single-serve packet is open, try to use it within about 10 days to 2 weeks, assuming typical indoor conditions.
10 days to 2 weeks. Wow, that's quick, even if it's vacuum packed.
Even then, he suggests those seals aren't always perfect. Air can leak in, leading to oxidation and potentially that moisture issue.
Good to know. What about the roast level? Light roast, dark roast? Does it matter for health?
It does, yeah. According to Dr. Liu, lighter roasts, sometimes called cyan roasting, tend to hold on to more of that chlorogenic acid, the antioxidant.
Ah, so light roasts are potentially healthier.
In terms of antioxidant content, yes. Medium and dark roasts lose some of those antioxidants during the more intense roasting process, even though they develop different flavors. Dr. Liu actually said he prefers lighter roasts himself for that reason.
Interesting. Okay, so avoid instant, use fresh whole beans, grind them yourself, use them quickly, maybe lean towards a lighter roast. What about when we drink it? Does timing matter?
Timing is surprisingly important, it seems. He advises against having coffee immediately upon waking up.
Really? But that's when most people need it.
I know, right? But his reasoning is that your body naturally produces cortisol, the stress hormone that wakes you up in the morning. If you hit it with caffeine right away, over time, your body might rely less on its own cortisol production.
Leading to needing coffee just to feel normal.
Exactly. You might feel sluggish without it.
Oh,
He suggests waiting about an hour after waking up. Let your natural cortisol rhythm do its thing first, then have your coffee.
wait an hour. Okay, I might have to try that. And what about caffeine and sleep? The obvious one.
Yeah, be mindful of the half-life. Caffeine sticks around. A good chunk of it can still be in your system 6 hours after you drink it.
6 hours. Wow.
So if you struggle with sleep, definitely avoid coffee in the afternoon or evening. Of course, he noted people metabolize caffeine differently, so you have to know your own body.
Right. Individual variation. So moderation seems key. What's a reasonable daily amount, generally?
For most people with normal caffeine metabolism, he suggests around 200 to 300 milligrams a day is reasonable. That's roughly 2 to 3 standard cups. Going much over 300 milligrams is where you might start seeing negative effects.
2 to 3 cups.
Okay.
Now, what about espresso? It's so concentrated. Any special advice there?
Yes, particularly regarding cholesterol. Unfiltered espresso contains these compounds, cafestol and coeal.
Cafestol and Cowell, never heard of them.
They're natural oils in the coffee. In unfiltered methods like espresso, they're more present, and they can apparently interfere with how your body metabolizes cholesterol.
So if you have high cholesterol,
Then you should probably limit unfiltered espresso. Filtered coffee, like pour over, removes most of these compounds. He cited studies showing that 4 to 6 espressos a day could potentially raise cholesterol levels a bit in some people.
good to know for espresso lovers, especially those watching cholesterol. Okay, let's talk additions. Milk, sugar, etc. What's Dr. Liu's take?
Dairy milk is generally okay, he says, unless you're lactose intolerant. It adds some calcium, but he also cautioned that drinking too much coffee can actually hinder calcium absorption. So, moderation again.
And sugar. I think
Yeah.
I know the answer.
Yeah, no surprise there. Minimize it or avoid it altogether. The negative health impacts of sugar are pretty clear.
What about non-dairy alternatives like soy milk?
Soy milk got a thumbs up. It's a good source of protein. Lower in calcium than dairy, maybe, but still a healthy option if you tolerate soy well.
Okay. Any other additions he mentioned? Like cinnamon. I sometimes add that.
Cinnamon actually got a positive mention. He highlighted its potential to help with insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control.
Oh, nice.
But, and this is key, don't add sugar with the cinnamon or you kind of cancel out the benefit.
Makes sense. He also had that interesting idea about combining coffee with green tea.
Yeah, that was intriguing. The idea is you cut down the overall caffeine load, plus you get theanine from the green tea, which is known for promoting calmness.
So less jitteriness, maybe.
Potentially, yeah. It could counteract the coffee jitters and maybe even help with sleep later. Plus, you're getting antioxidants from both the chlorogenic acid from coffee and the polyphenols from tea. A nice combo.
So some additions can be good, others not so much. But Dr. Liu also warned about risks from drinking coffee the wrong way. What are the big dangers?
All right, this is super important. A major one is drinking coffee that's too hot, specifically over 65 degrees Celsius, which is about 150 Fahrenheit.
Why is that dangerous?
The WHO actually classifies beverages that hot as a Group 2A carcinogen, probably carcinogenic, linked to esophageal cancer. He even mentioned a patient case linked to drinking very hot beverages habitually.
Wow. So let it cool down a bit. That's a simple fix.
What else? Combining coffee with smoking, that's a really bad mix.
How bad?
He cited a huge U.S. study, 200,000 people, showing smokers who also drink coffee have a 4 to 5 times higher risk of esophageal cancer.
4 to 5 times? Why?
It's likely a combination of the heat damage from the coffee. Plus, caffeine might speed up how you metabolize nicotine, maybe leading you to smoke more often.
Just a terrible synergy. Okay, what other risky combinations? Alcohol?
Yeah, using coffee to try and counteract alcohol or stay awake while drinking.
Yeah.
Dr. Liu says that's a definite no-go. It hinders your liver's ability to process the alcohol.
So the alcohol stays in your system longer.
Exactly. Higher concentration, longer duration,
Yeah.
increases risk of fatty liver, weight gain, all the usual alcohol-related issues. It just doesn't work as a sleep aid or a sober-up method.
Right. What about something seemingly innocent, like dark chocolate with coffee?
Well, both have caffeine, so if you're sensitive or having strong coffee, that combo could push you over the edge into palpitations or jitters.
Ah, doubling up on caffeine.
Yeah, and you need to be aware of caffeine and other things, too. He gave a rough ranking. Green tea is lowest, then maybe cola or black tea, then energy drinks. Sometimes milk tea can be surprisingly high, then lattes, and usually black coffee has the most per serving. It adds up.
That's a useful reminder about hidden caffeine. What about taking supplements with coffee?
Bad idea, generally. The tannins and acids in coffee can interfere with the absorption of minerals like calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc.
So wait an hour.
Yeah, separate them by at least an hour to make sure you're actually getting the benefit from your supplements.
What about B vitamins? Same issue.
Slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee doesn't really block B vitamin absorption, but it can make your body metabolize them, use them up faster. So if you need those B vitamins for something specific, the coffee might reduce their effectiveness.
Okay. And I've heard women shouldn't drink coffee right after eating meat. Why is that?
Iron absorption again. Meat, especially red meat, is a key source of iron, particularly important for women during menstruating years. Drinking coffee right after can inhibit that iron absorption, kind of undoing the benefit of eating the meat.
Right. Counterproductive. Last one. Leftover coffee from the fridge. Safe or not? I definitely do this sometimes.
Probably best not to. Dr. Liu advises against it. Even refrigerated, it oxidizes, losing that beneficial chlorogenic acid. And there's a risk of bacterial or even mycotoxin growth if it sits too long or wasn't brewed perfectly.
So ideally, drink it fresh, or at least within 24 hours if refrigerated.
Yeah, that seems to be the recommendation. Fresh is best.
Wow. Okay. Lots of potential pitfalls there. Now, Dr. Liu also talked about specific groups who should be extra cautious or maybe avoid coffee entirely. Who falls into those categories?
Yes, definitely not for everyone. People highly sensitive to caffeine, the slow metabolizers, they might get headaches, fatigue, tummy issues, dizziness, palpitations, even from small amounts.
Okay, so listen to your body there. Who else?
People with hyperthyroidism or Graves' disease, the stimulating effect can worsen their symptoms like tremors or a racing heart. Also, anyone with active gastric ulcers or GERD acid reflux. Coffee, especially with sugar, can irritate the stomach lining and increase acid.
Makes sense. What about eye health?
Yeah, individuals with glaucoma should be careful. Coffee can temporarily increase pressure inside the eye. He also noted people with high myopia, severe nearsightedness, might already have higher baseline pressure, so caution is advised.
Interesting. Anyone else?
Those with autonomic nervous system disorders. Coffee's stimulating effect can aggravate symptoms like insomnia or palpitations.
And children.
Definitely a group to avoid it, according to Dr. Liu. Kids and adolescents, basically below high school age. He mentioned potential impacts on growth, calcium absorption for bones, disrupting their nervous system development, leading to insomnia, hyperactivity, attention issues.
So really not recommended for young people. And he mentioned chocolate too.
Yeah, just a reminder that chocolate also contains caffeine, so limiting that in kids is probably wise too.
Okay, that's a very clear list of who needs to be particularly mindful. It really sounds like, while coffee can be beneficial for many of us.
It's all about how you drink it, when you drink it, and crucially, how your individual body responds.
Exactly. It's not just a simple yes or no, beneficial or harmful. It's nuanced.
Absolutely. Paying attention to the source of the beans, the preparation, the timing, your own health conditions. That's how you thread the needle to get the good stuff without the bad.
So the big takeaway for you listening seems to be coffee can be a friend, But you need to treat it with respect and understanding. Listen to your body's signals.
Precisely. It's about informed choices.
And considering how complex this seemingly simple daily drink is, it really makes you think, doesn't it? What other everyday habits, things we do without much thought, might have these hidden layers of health implications, both good and bad, that maybe we should be exploring further? Something to mull over. Thanks for diving deep with us today.